Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to KJ Knows Best. I am your host, Kyle Porche, and my partner on the other side here, Corey Coleman, producer Corey. Corey, it's good to be back. This is a new thing for us. I'm seeing your face on a computer, which is cool. We're actually probably no further than 400 yards away
Yeah,
live. That's probably a little light, but I got to give a hat off to Corey real quick, guys. We've been on for probably an hour trying to figure this out, and he finally figured it out in the last quarter. So well done, producer Corey. How you doing?
doing well. Was definitely frustrated there for a little bit. My biggest fear is that no one will ever see or hear this,
Yeah,
because just the back of my head, hoping that this is actually recording. But other than that, feeling good, feeling great. Ready for some discussion on the BMI.
yeah. Obviously we're recording this because we got 2021 BMI 21 days away. So we're really excited, and hopefully we can record a few of these things leading up to tea time. Before Corey, I want to talk about this tournament. We never really tied a bow on 2020 BMI, and we don't need to spend that much time on it. But I think it's only right if we on air, congratulate the Buffalo Soldiers. How great that whole story was. They were nails down the stretch. Bruce, Connor, Joey G, obviously with that remarkable, basically ace on the playoff hole. And I just want to call it out because we're not going to always get that. The tournament hasn't always been that way. That was our first playoff experience as a BMI at the BMI, and it was, for me personally, obviously I'm biased, but it was unbelievable. That day was the most fun I've had on a golf course by a long stretch. I mean, it was really incredible to be part of, and I think, looking forward to this year, we can only hope we get something as close or have a few teams in the mix, coming down the stretch on the final nine on Saturday. So yeah, just really excited. Again, congratulations to them. Hopefully, we'll have maybe one or two of those guys on to maybe kind of relive that day and what it was like to finish it off. But I'll say this before moving on to 2021, and this is the coolest part of the BMI. Our team, Splink 182, we really had no reason to really bang on our chests coming into town last year. We played, I think, 3 practice rounds, probably the most practice rounds out of any team last year, and quite honestly, we struggled. I shouldn't say we struggled. We just didn't really make any putts, and we had nothing more than belief going into BMI, and I think it's just scary how when you have four teammates, that all really believe in each other. Sometimes weird things happen, and my God, did they ever on that Saturday? So whether any team out there is trending in the right direction, or you know maybe someone's not swinging as well right now. It doesn't matter until you get over that ball, um, down to the bluff, and things change for better or for worse. So really excited to get down there, and you know, again, hats off to the Buffalo Soldiers for last year. Incredible performance.
Yeah, well said there, Kyle. And definitely a hats off to the Buffalo Soldiers. I was critic number one, and happy to see them
Yeah,
win. And now all four of them are cemented their place in BMI history. And congrats to all four of them: Cuddy, Joey G, Connor, and more specifically Bruce. A lot of hate thrown his way, and it's not going to stop. And I think he knows it. And it's a friendly banter. But at the end of the day, congrats to those guys. And no one really cares about Splink 182. I mean, good job. You
yeah,
finished first
Well,
loser.
I
So
mean, look, you have to, everyone will, at least will remember that whole playoff experience. I mean, who knows? I mean,
right.
in 8 years, how many more? I don't know how many more opportunities or how many situations it's going to come down like that. But no one's ever going to forget Joey G's shot there.
No.
I mean, I'll never forget what that run was like, and I hope that people that haven't experienced a Saturday like that in the BMI, I hope they get to experience that because it's a lot of fun. So,
Speaking of
enough about
Kyle,
that.
wait, speaking
Yeah,
of, you say people that haven't, experienced a Saturday like that. Who are the newcomers this year? Do we have any first
yeah. So
time
that
BMI
that's that.
participants?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get at, and hopefully we have both of these guys on. So we'll start with Bo Tiller. I don't know Bo incredibly well. I know you and a lot of the other guys that went to Georgia do. I know he played college golf. I
Go
know
dogs.
yeah, go dogs. I know he, for the most part, from everything I've heard, an incredible player, which kind of scares me.
Mhm.
I know Sam didn't take him one overall, which could be a storyline. Um, but I know he's got a good supporting cast. That team. I think they were preseason ranked two for a reason, behind Sam's Under Armour team. So I think it's going to be incredible for him to get down there. I think, like I said, anytime someone gets an invite to this tournament, it's theirs to turn down again. So for Bo being already pretty much a golf guy, maybe he doesn't play all the time, but you know, I'm sure he's getting ready. I'm sure his team is really excited to have him coming down to the bluff here in 21 days. And the other guy, how can we? I mean, Remy Williams. I would argue he has the golf itch, or maybe is obsessed with the game as much or more than anyone that I know currently. What do you think?
Fact. No, it's easy
Yeah,
to see from his purchases, from his videos, from his talks. He's loving the game, and can't fault him for it. He is putting in the work, and I hope he has a great showing at his first BMI. I'm really rooting for Remy. Um, Definitely a fan favorite for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're gonna. I would love to get Remy on. I think the one thing we should do leading up to the first tee is get Remy on, ask him about a lot of his equipment changes in the past, couple months. I would just love to pick his brain as a fellow golf. I would call myself, pretty a golf fanatic. Both watching, playing, just watching videos, learning. Watching 1992 Ryder Cups. I would love to hear more on just when he found the passion, because it really is inspiring. I love every time he texts about it. And sometimes him and I, text back and forth even about clubs and whatnot. So yeah, I can't wait for him to get down to the bluff. I think I'm actually going to be rooming with him, so we're
No,
staying over the clubhouse, which is going to be an awesome experience. Which again is going to be a first. We'll have the chairman on as well, guys, talking about how this is just a different BMI. I mean, this is the first. This is the first BMI, Corey, that Commissioner Andy won't be living down there. So what are those challenges? Does that present some different challenges for everyone involved? And I'm sure it's a mess.
yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely a big difference this year with that change. I've been a lifelong member of sleeping on Andy's in between rooms up to upstairs. A great
Yeah,
spot, great spot to be in. And that is one thing that I am worried about is the home base. Is it going to be the
yeah,
clubhouse? Is it going to be one of the houses? Is it going to be the condos? And I know we've kind of separated from the hey everyone in one spot kind of mentality with adding more competitors. The field's getting bigger. But it is always nice to gather in one central location, kind of have the ability to do whatever the hell you want. So that is one kind of worry. But at the end of the day, we're all going to get down there. We're all going to have a good time. And, it's still the BMI. Just because they're not living there doesn't mean um, the tradition doesn't carry on. I think it might even make it a bigger deal. So, those are my thoughts on it. But I just to kind of put a caveat to it as well. I am a proponent, and I know this is probably early on to talk about it, especially episode one. I am a proponent of looking at another location for future BMIs. But again, this is an early conversation. We'll maybe talk to the commissioner or the chairman, excuse me, about that on a later episode. But again, it's BMI 2021. We're gonna have a great time no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to have a more in-depth conversation about what the future holds for the BMI. Um, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So, I mean, we'll talk more about that. I think when we bring the chairman on and get his thoughts and ideas. But we talked about first timers. Let's address right now who the notables are that are missing this year's BMI. You can't start anywhere else except for Adam Potter,
Yeah.
past champion, probably one of the best in the field, which really hurts. So hopefully we'll get to still see Adam down there. But I have Adam. I have Gary Weintraub, which is another huge miss, former
Huge.
champion. So you got two past champions that are missing there. Matt Thompson's played in one, I believe, one BMI. It could be
Mhm.
wrong, could be two. I think when we get Ways down to the next BMI next year, it's just going to be something that we laugh about how he wasn't involved in all the previous ones. I mean, once we get him on board, it's going to be really really special. And then Scott Morton. Scott is not coming down this year, so not sure what the future holds for him. But I think the committee has done a great job of always trying to expand if it makes sense. It's not just going to be inviting whoever. And I think when you look into next year, if Chris Sudduth,
Yep.
he's not in the BMI this year, so you could make an argument. There's four right there, 4 or 5 guys that could easily be involved, and we know the waiting list obviously is very long. So we'll see if it gets over 30 next year. It's going to be an interesting play. But let's talk a little more about the storylines trip
Hmm.
of this year. I mean, what do you think the biggest storylines are going into this BMI are?
Well, I mean, again, personally, it's gonna be me talking shit to Bruce and telling him he can't win another one. I know that's a small storyline, but always have to bring it up just selfishly. Um, and looking at that team this year, there is a 0% chance that team wins. So that's definitely number one in my book. Um,
They're on the IR, by the way.
yeah, I know.
They're seriously on the IR. I'm concerned about them. They have incredible athletes, top to bottom. I wouldn't want to play them in anything else, and sometimes I wouldn't even want to play them in golf.
Right?
But yeah, I'm a little worried about the injury bug that sounds like they have with Bruce and Parker, and you know, um, I've heard rumors about Hare not maybe not playing as well,
Oh no.
and if Pika can hold them together, I wouldn't be shocked if they absolutely came down and played great. But it just sounds like they're not playing much golf. We know Parker's not playing much golf, so yeah,
By the way, his putting videos the other day were LOL funny.
yeah,
He didn't make one of them and just loved it. But that's
yeah,
Parker for you.
interesting.
Great competitor.
Yeah.
Gonna bring it. Other than that, what are the storylines? You're Mr. BMI.
So
You riddle them
yeah,
off for me.
just a few things I wrote down. All right. So we got the suspicious text between obviously Sam and the chairman.
Huge.
Um, we need to, we're going to address that with the chairman on our next episode here. Need to get to the bottom of it. I mean, people really want him to step down. People really want the committee to take fault for this. And, I don't blame Sam. I've reached out to that team. I haven't reached out to J Flow personally, but I will for next episode, and we'll see what if he wants to say anything, or even have him on, see if he wants to chime in and kind of clear the air. But that's got to be the top. I would say hole two was underwater at some point not too long ago. Um, what's the status there? I don't think we've gotten a clear reading. I've heard rumors it's fine, but is it? We can't be hitting out of the muck. Or if it's a turn to a par three, it's going to be a huge difference. Um, recent a recent storyline trip, J Flo versus Colin.
Oh,
Maybe a little butting heads, little
I
butting
love
heads
it.
there.
Love it.
Yeah, I do too. And the last thing I have is I just have friends don't trump green jackets, and I think it is. I think for the first time in BMI history, which is exactly what I wanted to happen, is this tournament mean more than getting together and you know high fiving down at the bluff.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I think it happened a couple different times in this draft. And the best thing about what's happening with everyone is everyone, to quote MJ, the floor is the ceiling now. And everyone's getting better at golf.
yep.
And if you're not putting in the time and you're not really dedicated to getting better, then you're going to be exposed. You're going to be exposed in the draft. You're going to be exposed down to the bluff. And quite frankly, I love it. If you're not willing to put in the time, you're gonna, I don't see why you should think that you are gonna get handed, a good draft pick by a good friend. Obviously, I'm talking, one's personal. I know it was involved our team with Parker and Cuddy. I think one involved, Colin getting, not getting picked by Sam. So, I just think it's good for the game. It's good for the BMI. I think it's good for our BPGA as well. Everyone's getting more into the game, and if you don't want to put the time in, then don't complain about it until you show up.
Yeah.
And Parker's gonna probably have some juice flowing, so maybe hey, maybe it works out. But you know, I love it. I really do. And this is exactly what I naturally wanted to happen, and it has.
Yeah, and me personally, I don't understand the criticism that's kind of coming off. It's like if it was me, because I'm probably getting picked in that same type of position that Parker would be getting picked in. And I get that you want to go down there and play with people that you're friends with and all that. But at this
Yeah,
point, I mean, I would rather get picked later on in the draft and solidify my chance to be on a better team
yeah,
and contribute to that team as a underdog, kind of like what Parker is in this situation, than be picked above my spot or my talent level, and then get relied on in huge opportunities in the tournament. So, um, and I didn't realize that there was a little bit of that conversation with Colin and Sam as well. So I'm wondering if possibly that's where this whole J Flow versus Colin um, kind of butting of heads
yeah.
kind of came into play. Maybe
Exactly.
Colin's feeling a little bit sad and he wants to bring it out. So you brought it
Yeah.
up, so I connected the dots there.
I think one of the most underrated things about, and it's great, and people choose or don't choose to use it as fire, motivation, whatever you want. I mean, I think there's a large group of people that could be drafted. Yeah, they're interchangeable, right? It
Oh,
just
100.
depends who shows up, right?
Yep.
So, and I'm not even just saying the Parker Cuddy situation, but there are things. I mean, Gordy going that late in the draft. I mean, you know, I I think kind of switching gears. There's never been a team that has been that solid. When I say that solid, I mean the Sam's pick, the having the number one seed, having Butters have Gordy, Flo, Sam. I mean, that is a deep team. Part of me thinks that it is going to be a cakewalk for them, and it's going to be a blowout. Obviously, we'll wait and see, but. And I'm not saying that that has to lead to anything. Well, like, what do you want us to do? I don't, the committee could be sitting there like, well, how do you want us to draft? I'm not saying that, but at the same time, there just has never been a team that deep. So it's going to be interesting to see all those guys from top to bottom, if they play to their game, um, they're going to be they're going to be up there on Saturday, whether they win or lose. But they're they're going to have a run at it.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to kind of see how everything shakes down. I know Sam's not playing much golf. He just welcomed his first child, so it's going to be very interesting, man. But yeah, I love the storyline and having the chip on your shoulder, if you will, of maybe not getting picked where you wanted, and seeing how it affects everything leading up to the BMI.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good storyline, and kind of to hit off the Butters Team Under Armour, excuse me. For
Yeah,
that team, I mean, if you look back on the number one overall pick the past 4 years, and it's been Poe the last 4 years, look at his supporting cast. I mean, the White
yeah,
Panthers, when we won, I mean, it was Poe, Colin, Frat White, and myself. I mean, that's three third round to second round picks. And Gordy, like you said, all that whole second round is all interchangeable. I mean, I was sitting there talking to Eric the
yeah,
whole time, like, hey, we're about to pick. We already had a group text with Gordy, and we didn't realize that Mark was gonna fall. But that's the thing, is all those guys are so interchangeable. And I think that's what makes it interesting, for sure, with those picks and with the draft overall, and kind of how the teams have shaken out. But I didn't expect, a number one pick to have that type of supporting cast. But you look at the field, and it's like it's inevitable. Like you said, you can't really change the draft, and you can't really change the way it is unless it's kind of a fixed draft. So maybe something to look into, with the committee and the chairman at a later date, if your thoughts of that team maybe running away happens. But to counter it, I feel like with the added experience and the added talent in the field, all it takes is for one team to get hot. All it takes is for one team to start getting those putts to roll, and
yep,
anyone has a chance. So, I do think they are the heavy favorites, but only time will tell.
yeah. And I mean, I remember last year we were. If you go back and listen, which I know everyone's going to go do to the 2020 BMI podcast, um, I remember people, the score predictions were pretty high.
Yep.
I mean, there was 20s thrown. I think there was even a 23 or 24. But I'll say this: the switching of the tees made a huge difference, and it's going to take at some point 1 through 4 on the team. So I'm excited, man. I want to ask you this. Well, first of all, actually, before I want to get to the teams and just your breakdown of the teams, I want to ask, just because I have you, we're going to have other guests on since we're kicking this thing off. Tell me about your team. Well, how are you guys feeling? How you and Andy just played? What can you
Yep.
share?
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors about Fat Andy, out of shape Andy, that it could be good for him, could be bad. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I had the honor, obviously, of being the captain this year. Thank you to the committee, for trusting me. Thank you to the chairman. But overall, my team we're grooving. We do a lot of group text, video chats. Usually when the shark is having a couple drinks and Andy is sitting there with his newborn, and Eric is usually in bed, and I'm probably doing the same. But we're grooving. We're grooving. Really none of us four are, to your earlier point, best friends. Me and Andy are definitely close, and I think Eric and Mark are close. But all four of us together, we didn't previously have really a bond, and I think Pawpaw is the one who is going to bring that bond for us. We look back on the tradition of the BMI, and Zollers is a staple, and what better way to represent BMI Sapelo, than to honor a legend, and Pawpaw. So, Anyway, enough about that. But Fat Andy got a lot of shit for taking Andy where I did. Um, Not publicly,
Wow.
but privately. I've had some people asking me, "Well, you should have taken this. You should have taken that."
Wow. Really?
And I just sat there like, I haven't played that much golf with Andy, but I have played enough to know that he brings something to our team that not one of the other people bring. And that is, first off, course knowledge.
I
Second off, a
knew it. It's
a,
coming.
a consistent game. I mean,
Yep,
he can put
he
the ball
does.
out there 200, 225, even 275 the other day. The kid was ripping drives right down the middle. The ball doesn't even think about moving. I told Andy when we were driving together, if I could have his game, I would swap it in a heartbeat. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit about how far you hit the ball or anything like that. If I could hit the ball straight every single time it came off the club face, give it to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with Andy, me and him did play White Oak, or no, not White Oak, Canongate
Can't go with.
Lee.
Can't go.
Yeah, we played Canongate Lee, and on the front nine we shot a even par, and on the back nine we shot a 5 over, or yeah, 5 over, and we were grooving for sure, and we did play well. And the back nine kind of did get to us. My back started getting tight. Andy wanted some dip, and we had to eat, so we went to Popeyes afterwards, and it was delicious. But other than that, Shark, you know what you're getting from Shark. You're getting a guy who can bring a 3 wood out on a par 5 and put it on the green. A consistent player off the tee box, and a guy who has irons to match and can go pin seeking. Um, his one con is probably his putting, and he's self-admitting that, and he's working on it. We're working on it every day as a team. We're all working with our putting surfaces and trying to get better, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to win the ship. And last but not least, Murphy. I've never had the privilege to play with Murphy. I've watched him play from a distance before. Being behind him one round at the BMI, and was very impressed. That was all I needed to see to make that pick. Again, that was a pick that was maybe talked about personally a little bit to me as a not bad pick, but a questionable pick, being that Dean has the championships to back up the pick where it was. But at the end of the day, I saw it as a opportunity to add an element that I've never really had on my team before, and I think Eric's due. And I would
Yeah.
rather take the player that's due, that's already done, than that's already done it. So that was the big reason there. And I don't really need to talk about Eric's game. He plays in first tee. He's won first tee. I think he came in second one year, maybe
Yeah.
last year. So the kid's a competitor. Kid knows what he's doing on the golf course, and I think that's going to be beneficial to all three of his teammates. Helping us out, giving us ideas, and kind of coaching us a little bit along the way. Because at the end of the day, if you start hole 1 the same way you end hole 18, either you're
Yeah.
playing really good on hole 1 and you know what you're doing, which is not the case for me, or you're learning and trying to get better. And by hole 18, you did that. So that's my team, and then you got me. New clubs, new guy. Bryson DeChambeau, one
Yeah.
length.
Share with everyone about your one lengths. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the one links. Feeling good about them. Hitting them decent at times, hitting them really, really well at times. So, um, starting to get a little bit into the groove. Going down to St. Simon's actually Saturday, and going to be playing 3 rounds of golf there. And
Wow.
really excited about that. And Yeah, my game's trending, I think, upward there. I mean, off the tee box, I'm absolutely terrible. But at the same point, like I was talking to Andy, I don't need to have a tee shot really. Like if Andy can put one out there 200 yards straight and let Mark and Eric just unload with the driver, and myself too, but at the end of the day, I think that's what my team doesn't need the most. I think if I can bring an element to the putting surface and the iron game a little bit, I think I'll do my part as the captain. So um, that is piss bags for Papa, and that is kind of my. Oh no, KJ fell off. So this is the first time we've done this. So um, yeah, KJ just dropped off for all of the viewers. I hear him. He's kind of coming back. But
Here,
yeah,
can you hear me?
you're falling off.
Yes,
There you
no?
are. Yeah, I got you now. I got you now.
Hold on. Hold on. Can you?
A little bit of technical difficulties. Um, but yeah, that might be a wrap for the first episode of KJ Knows Best. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Wait,
I'm back. Can you hear me?
okay. I almost just signed off for this.
I know. Well, we are going to end soon. Can you see me and hear me though?
Yeah, perfect.
You can see me and hear me? Okay, good. I heard all of that, by the way. I
Okay.
heard it all.
Very awkward.
You were
Didn't.
drop you were dropping off from me on my side, which was funny.
I wonder how that's going to record. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I love that. I like your team. I would love to have Eric win a green jacket. I think he deserves it. You're probably the second team. I wouldn't. This was the question I was going to ask you. What team do you, besides yourselves, what team do you most likely, like, you wouldn't hate to see them put on the green jacket, and what team would you hate?
Um, the latter questions very easily. Don't want Bruce's team to win.
Okay.
Besides Pika, the other three are eh. So
Yeah.
no thank you to that team. As far as teams I wouldn't mind seeing, like I said earlier,
It's it's easy for me. It's Dean, Sweaty, Remy, Frat. I wouldn't mind. I mean, Dean's got two. If Dean wins three, that's incredible. But the rest of those guys, that would I would love to see them in the jacket. I'd love to see your team in the jacket.
yeah,
I don't really have I don't really have like a last place, but I know people probably don't want to see Joey, Blake, and Cam and Maddie in the jacket.
yeah. I was gonna go back to earlier comments. I mean, Remy is definitely my fan favorite, so I would have to align with your comments about. I wouldn't mind seeing them win, but also, I like your team. There's really not a dislikable person on that team. With Cuddy, Connor, yourself, and Paul. So it would probably be hard to bear seeing Cuddy win back to back just because, he likes to talk. But at the end of the day, I like you, I like Connor, I like Paul, and I like Cuddy. So um, I wouldn't really hate to see that team win. Paul's due. Um,
Paul's did.
and that's really who I'm rooting for. Even though I'm the biggest proponent of let's stop the Paul love. I mean, let's get over ourselves. So might be contradicting myself a little bit there, but I think your team deserves a shot for sure.
Yeah, I just hope that we're in that position on Saturday. Well, I think that's a pretty good opening episode, Corey, producer Corey. If you
Yeah,
have any other questions, I would answer anything, but I think I wanted to ask you about your team and wanted just to address some headlines going into this year's BMI and I think it'll only be natural to have the chairman on next, and then maybe a few captains, sprinkle in maybe a first time competitor, and see where else it takes us. Maybe a few random call-ins that we always like to do, but maybe we'll save that for a Friday or Saturday drunken fest. So if you don't have anything, man, I think this was I'm thank you for pushing to get it done. Thank you for your patience, and hopefully this records right, and we'll be back, right?
Yeah, no, like you said, hopefully this is recorded correctly, and if not, no one will know about
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Yep.
So,
That's
no,
right.
appreciate it, Kay. Always a pleasure to do this with you, and just get ready for next year. We'll have a bigger and better opportunities for KJ Knows Best, but please stay tuned and please up your dues, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, everyone. Talk to everyone soon. Thank you so much.